back to Reality Lives with the Hives. I'm Katie.
And I'm Will.
And this man's wanted for murder because we spent hour and a half filming what I consider top-notch, super detail-oriented episode. Took a lot of notes, all about the next 3 episodes of Love is Blind. And what occurs? Somebody didn't save the audio.
Oh my God!
You know what?
We are.
I will say I'm amazed that we've made it this far without this happening. But yeah, the computer decided to restart, update, all that kind of good stuff. And
Sure. But who, when they go up to a computer after recording for an hour and a half, doesn't click save?
it was a fool's move. I'm an
Our
idiot.
whole entire lives, our whole childhood, school, whatever may have you, don't forget to save. Don't forget to save. You work on a computer regularly. It's just, it's concerning.
Yeah.
But alas,
I'm an
here
idiot.
we
I know.
are. Still very excited to discuss the episodes of Love is Blind.
It's going to be good. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. Although the fact that
He's
we're
literally
tired.
on his phone door dashing something the second we start the
I
episode.
have a flight tomorrow morning.
This is a shit show.
And I need deodorant. So
This is insane.
this is just a peek behind the curtain into our life. It is absolute chaos.
Yeah, good
We're
times.
both really
We
full
just
of
ate
Italian
a
food.
mountain of pizza and pasta. I'm tired. But we're going to push through.
Because this is for you. It's not about us. All right? It's about you. And we're doing this for you.
Yeah. So, like we said, we got 3 new episodes of Love is Blind. Honestly, 3 was not enough, but a lot of things went down.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think the best way to tackle this mission is to go couple by couple. And again, it's been several days now, so probably won't remember every detail. So if we do jump around a bit, apologies in advance. But yeah. I think a good place to start is Johnny and Amy, because they're kind of the least dramatic couple at this point.
I agree. There's definitely the least amount of drama. And you can tell Netflix is trying to squeeze as much drama out of them as possible. And there's not a lot to be found. So let's just let's jump in.
Lord have mercy. Yes. So again, like you said, I think that Netflix is trying to create some kind of dramatic storyline with them when it is obvious that nothing is wrong and they seem pretty connected. But I would guess, the biggest drama they have so far is the lack of birth control. Honestly, I respect Amy for standing her ground and saying she likes how regular her body is. And I think she said she was anemic. So she just clearly doesn't want to be on, harsh medications and stuff. And as a woman, birth control ain't fun. There was mention of a vasectomy. My question is what about a good old condom?
Yeah, I don't get how this is a major issue. It's just
They're making it bigger than it is. Yeah.
it's cool. Practice safe sex. All is well. Realistically, if this is the biggest problem you have, it's not really a problem. All the couples seem to see how good a relationship they have, whether they're
Chemistry is palpable. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they finish off on the island together, right? Have
On
a
the
beautiful little
island.
time on the horses, going through some little river, have moments, look into each other's eyes.
Were they on horses?
Yeah, they were on horses.
That's how long it's been.
I know.
Don't even know.
And then they got back to the States, to their nice little townhome,
What state?
North Carolina.
Okay. Just testing
I
you.
remember.
Charlotte, baby. Yeah, they go home. We see them seeing each other's places. I think they're in Amy's place when they have a brief discussion about Johnny wanting to potentially retire early. And he's like, what if we buy a house and then we are just cheap as shit after? And she's kind of down for the get down. I think she's, flexible to meet in the middle kind of thing. Because she very much said she still wants to enjoy life, obviously, which is a respectable answer. But she seems willing to, try to be money savvy, as they say. But yeah, they seem like a good match again because they're kind of balancing each other. She's more of the free spirited one, where he's clearly the overthinker, planner, worrier. And that's a good mix.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny, great guy, but he kind of wants to have it all. He wants to retire early in his 50s, he said, which, bro, I don't think you realize that at this point in our life, we're going to live a lot longer, most of us, than our previous family members did. So if you retire in your 50s, early 50s, I think you said, you got like 30 plus years of not working. Like you can only do so much golf. You can only do so much fishing. So I get it, but he also wants
That's
to.
not that crazy. Our parents are like 60s and they've been retired for a minute. My dad retired like early on in our relationship.
I think your dad retired probably when he was probably closer to 60, I would think.
Okay, early, mid 50s. It's not that crazy.
I don't know. I guess I just have no desire
He's
to
just
retire.
like, I want to be such a baller that we can retire a little earlier than the norm.
I mean, he seems to want to.
Hate it. Jesus.
He wants to retire early. He wants to save all this money and live frugally, yet have all these experiences too.
He wants to save money to retire early. That's the point. And, one
I guess
key
I'm like
thing-
Netflix. I'm just trying to find drama where there isn't. Whatever.
Yeah,
He's fine.
Potster.
You're soft, Johnny. You're soft.
Real men aren't afraid to be soft. One thing we're missing is they kind of both allude to maybe having not a super rich, expensive childhood. So he seems really scared to get her pregnant early, to kind of take these serious steps before they're financially ready. And, he makes a lot of mention of like, I want our kids, our future family to have better than what we had. And that's understandable. He's not a bad
Yeah.
guy for that. So
That's respectable. No,
Yeah.
I get that. I think I'm a massive proponent for responsible family planning. If you're not emotionally ready, financially ready, relationship ready to bring a child into the world, then just don't. It's fine. So
just don't.
I respect it. I will say, Johnny, great family. The sisters came over. And
yeah, I knew you were going to jump to that. Before we get to that, I guess the other hurdle, which again, they're kind of trying to plant seeds of doubt in our mind, whatever, twist things, because they are, sailing so smooth. Amy does mention here and there about her family and her dad and how he is a bit more traditional, maybe a bit more strict, how he wasn't a big fan of her going and doing this situation. So, and we see in the preview as well, they're teary-eyed and they're asking the dad for their blessing. I, once again, think that Netflix is throwing us off the scent and chopping up this preview to make us think like, oh, the dad's going to shut him down and she's going to leave crying. I don't know. It's understandable for any parent to be questioning this process. It's very unorthodox, very rushed. It's sus, especially a grown-ass adult who's probably been in a lot of serious relationships, been married for decades possibly. Shit's crazy. If our future kid was doing this, we'd be like, no.
yeah, I mean, realistically, those parents who just jump right on board and act like everything's perfect, they're yeah.
Tell me your kid's a freak and you're desperate to pot him off. Just kidding.
Or tell me you just want to look cool on TV.
Or they're just blindly supporting their kid, which isn't bad either. But
Yeah, I mean,
a normal, it's normal, I should say, for a grown-ass adult to be a little skeptical of the situation.
so
But
we'll
like
see.
you said,
Yeah,
not really much, not really much going on with them in these few episodes, but we do see them meeting up with Johnny's sisters and one of her sister's fiancés. And man, just like Johnny, the sisters are super outgoing, super sweet, nice. Right away, Amy and the sisters are like, hitting it off. She does mention in past episodes that she didn't have a lot of like, I want to say friends growing up and that kind of thing. And now it's like really cute to see her with his family, his sisters, because girl, those are your built-in future friends. And the sisters loved her, clearly loved the situation. We're like, when's the wedding? So it was really cute. It was a wholesome moment.
It was. I would say Johnny's family has got to be so much fun for like family game night.
Oh, yeah, they're giving game night.
Throw back a few drinks,
Yeah.
you're having some laughs, you're bringing up old memories from your kids. They're all very full of life. It was of all of the family gatherings, and we'll talk about more coming up soon, right? Easily the one that I wish I was at. It just seemed like
Yeah.
you're having so much fun.
It was effortless, immediately really fun, outgoing, jokey. It was cute. It was a good vibe.
So we'll see. Is the dad gonna come ruin it all? Is he gonna come ruin it all?
Again, even if he's like questioning the situation, that's not ludicrous of him to do. He's not some asshole
no.
to be like, I don't love my daughter marrying a stranger. But I guess the real question is, even if he says he's not super supportive of it, is that going to stop her? If she really loves Johnny and wants to be with him, like at the end of the day, you're a grown ass adult. And if you really love this person and believe he's your person, the family shit's going to fall into place at some point. So
Yeah,
you kind of have
fair.
to also stand up for what you want. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Let's move on. I guess,
Should we go to the maybe shortest lived couple next?
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Man, as Tyra Banks once said, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. What, respectfully, the fuck happened here?
I don't
We're
get it.
talking Brittany and Kenneth. Man, like we've said before, the most outwardly religious couple. Teacher, principal, they might have been the youngest couple as well, which
They were, yeah.
is showing a little bit now. Not on Brittany's side. She's a respectful, mature queen.
Super mature queen.
Sweetie. She's a real one. Man, you know, back in the DR, we're seeing them on a yacht where it should be just like a fun, beautiful, sexy day. And this man is literally giving nothing. They're on this yacht, and you know, you'd mentioned before these couples. Whoa, you okay there?
Hey, yo.
sir?
Whoa.
These
Settle
couples
down.
are these couples are brand new, about to get fucking married, about to go home and start this exciting adventure. They should have endless things to talk about, endless random questions to ask each other and things they want to know about each other. And this man is literally crickets on this beautiful boat in the middle of the ocean. The only time he wakes the fuck up is when they go past like a dolphin sanctuary vibe. You would swear this man just wanted to marry a dolphin. It was crazy.
He's way too into dolphins. Because you could tell he was just not wanting to be there. But the moment the word dolphin escaped someone's lips, dude
man
lights up
woke
like the 4th
up.
of July. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about his dolphin keychain. He's talking about swim with the dolphins, how it changed him.
He like fed one from his
Yeah.
mouth.
I mean, he kissed it on the nose. I mean,
He's
this
like, oh,
dude
we
was
should
just-
have done that.
Yeah. I mean, the most emotional he is the entire show is talking about dolphins. And I will say, before they go on the boat, they had a really great conversation the night before because 80 planted that seed, about, well,
Yeah.
your, now wife is going to have to raise black children. Do you think she's ready for that? And
And of course, we know already this is his first relationship with a white woman.
she handles the conversation graciously.
So
I mean,
mature.
better than
Yeah,
I could,
respectfully.
better than I feel like almost anybody could. But
Yeah.
regardless of what she says, he just keeps coming back to actions speak louder than words. He's understanding it, but you can see he's also still kind of
Well, I mean, he tells her, he's like, I'm going to have to just see how things go in the real world. And that's, at that point, he hadn't done anything that we took as wrong. He was,
yeah.
He's, again, experiencing this for the first time. And this isn't just a relationship. This is a engagement that's going to be a marriage in weeks. So Again, AD planted that thought in his mind, which is something he should be thinking about. AD was not wrong for that at all. It was a respectful conversation in all regards from all
Yeah, for
parties.
sure.
But yeah, they talk about it briefly. And again, they kind of left it in a good place. But then fast forward again to the boat date and stuff. You can tell he's acting different. He's acting quiet. And obviously that was probably on his mind and kind of shifted things for him and their relationship because he was super into her before.
I mean,
I felt bad for her.
It's uncomfortable on the boat, realistically.
Oh
I mean,
my
he's
God,
just
it's so
putting
awkward.
zero effort in
And
at
she's
all.
a bubbly, outgoing girl, and she's not a moron. She's reading the room. She can tell he's off.
And
So she's
trying.
overcompensating a little
She's
bit,
trying
like
so
trying.
hard.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
And it continues, right? Even when they go back home, they get into the new spot together.
Yeah.
And literally, immediately, the only thing he is doing is on his phone. She's unpacking. Hey, which side of the dresser do you want?
Trying
Hey,
to start conversations.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you want to set the bathroom up? How should we do this? How should we do that? And he's pretty much just like,
One wording it.
do what you're going to do. I got to do this. Do what you got to do. I got to catch up on emails.
Yeah.
And he's just, and is he catching up on emails? I don't know. I mean, he's a principal, so you could argue maybe he's busy. At the
I'm
same
so
point,
torn on that. Like,
same point though, like, bro, it's not like you've got 1,000 people you're closing deals with here or there. I don't know how many times.
no, the life of a principal is probably pretty stressful.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is to a degree, but also you would think that there's probably got to be a good system in place. If the principal's gone,
There's
right?
vice
Like,
principal.
yeah, exactly, right.
Hopefully.
It's
Yeah.
not like kids are meeting with principals on a daily basis. Teachers don't need to meet with principals on a daily
We don't
basis,
know.
probably.
But yeah.
You're right. But regardless, he's just disconnected. And
Yeah.
you can see it in her face. She's trying really hard to create, a solid start to the relationship in the new house.
Well, I mean, the second they get home, when they're in their new shared space together, most of these couples are noticeably excited and have like a burst of energy. Like, yes, the honeymoon's amazing, but now it's like, this is real life. Like, let's do
Yeah.
this thing. And she was excited, as you should be, like I said. And she's, trying to start any little spark of a conversation she can. And he's giving her one word answers, if not just fucking ignoring her. There was times where she would ask a question and he just didn't even answer. And again, he's not even pretending to listen. His face is buried in his fucking phone. I get you were gone for a couple weeks, whatever may have you, but you're not that important. You're not that popular. Nothing in that moment should be more important than that partner that you're starting this new life with. Like, it was out of bounds. And I mean, you can tell even from the boat scene, he's checked out. It's just all downhill from here. It was really upsetting because, again, I think most viewers, including us, thought they were the most solid couple that was for sure going to end up together.
Oh, yeah.
And man, how the tables turned.
And it just spirals from
Yeah.
there, right? I mean, the first, scene back in the house, things don't go well. The next time we see them, it's even worse. It's the point where you can see she's
Well, we see
finally
them,
fed
like,
up.
We see her see his place and stuff like that, but there's not really much there. She kind of gives him shit about his kitchen being pretty sparse, like bachelor pad vibes. And then they sit on the couch at his place, and again, his face is fucking buried in his phone. But yeah, jump ahead, and they're back at their place that they're sharing together. And we see a scene where she's essentially, and not even that seriously, but kind of playfully calling him out for getting home at 1:30 in the morning and waking her up, leaving lights on, etc., when she had to be up at 5. But she wasn't, again, coming at him, like attacking him. She kind of
No.
was just bringing it up to just dish it out and talk about it. And man, it did not go well. Shit hit the fan and escalated quickly.
He gaslit her pretty hard
Yeah.
because they start talking about how she finally brings up, all right, what's going on? Something's missing.
Yeah.
And she tries to say that between us, there's not a spark. There's something missing.
Yeah.
Even though we're both religious and have agreed to wait until we're married, there should be this temptation making it difficult to wait. And that's
Yeah.
not there. And then he immediately throws it back on her saying, well, all right, well, if you don't have this with me, if you're not, attracted to me, if you don't find me desirable, whatever have you, and she's not saying that, and he knows
She's just
she's
having
not
a
saying that.
conversation. I mean, this is a normal thing in a relationship. I guess a newer one where you're not so stabilized and whatnot. Like, she was throwing things out there in hopes that he's gonna fight for it.
And he doesn't
Yeah.
at all.
What a pussy.
TLDR.
I just do.
He doesn't
I
fight.
don't fuck with this man.
No. He goes, well, you know what? If it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, and I hate this, and I want to say this in the nicest way possible, but he just uses Jesus as a scapegoat.
Yes.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
pretty much, if God and, doesn't want this to be, then it's not meant to be. I really hope you find happiness. I hope you find what you're looking for, but we gave it a good run, and clearly this isn't what God wants from us, and it's ridiculous because it's like, no, you were choosing not
You
to engage.
control your
You
life.
were choosing not to try and be intimate with her. You can be intimate without going past the boundaries you set. And I feel bad. And then you can tell how disengaged he already is because he immediately is just like, well, all right, that's it. Cool. Draw the line. I'm going to call my boy. I'm going to get out of here. And I'm probably okay if I don't ever see you again. So peace. Nice knowing you. Catch you on the flip side. It's like, there's
What?
no
it was
emotion.
crazy.
It was ridiculous. I'm like,
Well,
you
she's like-
proposed this woman and you're not going to fight even slightly?
Like, again, we're not religious by any means, so I'm not gonna assume I know how religious people move, but you guys are super religious, putting God and your faith first in this relationship, and you're just giving up like that. Like, I feel like God probably wouldn't want that. Like, you should,
I mean, that bracelet, what would Jesus do? Something tells me
really fight for
he
his
wouldn't give
woman?
up on his woman.
Yeah. I mean, she, like you said, she says that she's missing this craving for him. Yes, they kiss and stuff like that. She mentions they haven't even made out.
Which is
What?
wild. Wild.
That's crazy. It's
You're
sad.
grown
Yeah.
adults.
And it's not, for lack of her wanting to.
No. So,
Even after that conversation, she didn't think they were going to be over. Like, she definitely wanted to keep fighting and trying. She was just being honest with her, or with him, excuse me. But yeah, like you said, he's like, oh, well, if that's how you feel, I want you to be happy, even if it's with somebody and not me. And, God had my back before this. He's going to have both our backs now. And guess it wasn't meant to be.
sad
And
to see.
literally, she's understandably upset, crying, head on the counter, sobbing. And he picks up his phone and is like, we good? And goes upstairs. And you hear him calling someone like, oh, I'm packing my stuff. I'll be right over. As she's sobbing in the kitchen. Even if you were breaking up, you had love, fake love, clearly, love for this woman 5 seconds ago. What the fuck is wrong with you? You mentioned this before. He's a role model. He's a middle school principal. People are watching you. You're leading the next generation, and you're showing young men and women that this is how they should treat people and this is how they should accept being treated. Like, I don't know, rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't think he's like some evil, horrible person, but man, he's way more mature than we thought.
Yeah.
Really,
I've
really
never
disappointing.
seen such an unemotional breakup.
Yeah.
Especially from
Like a
engagement.
I hate to
So,
say it, but he was putting on a really fake persona
Yeah,
before.
it feels
he
that
fooled
way.
us all.
And it just ends like that.
Yeah.
So
And it seems like they're out of the experiment now, and hopefully, obviously, we'll see them at the reunion. And
say,
man, she
reunion.
deserves some closure.
reunion, hopefully people poke and prod because the reunion could be juicy potentially. We'll see.
She deserves so much more. Justice for Brittany.
Justice.
She is a real one. Dare I say, one of the sweetest, most genuine people of the whole season. She deserved better.
Speaking of real ones, let's pivot into two real ones. Arguably maybe our favorite couple.
Clay and AD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last we see of them at the DR, nothing too crazy. They're dining at some kind of outdoor pavilion on the water. He is
This scene.
super soup happy. literally eating his soup like a child. He's slurping away. And honestly, I'm seeing a lot of people like hate that. And I don't think it's that serious. Like the fact that he was so excited about soup in a hot climate was kind of endearing. It made me like him more.
Good for him. I mean, it was
There's
almost
a
like
lot
an
of mixed
anime
yeah,
the way he was
there's
eating
a
it.
lot
It was
of
kind of
mixed
funny.
reviews about Clay, and I can understand why. Like he's got some red flags for sure, and ultimately, I'm worried about them in the long run. But there's also a lot of redeeming, endearing qualities that he possesses, and I think the soup was one of them. The way he stacked his plates and kind of piled all the garbage at the top, like kind of essentially trying to like be courteous and help the wait staff. I do that sometimes, and I thought that was cute.
I think so. I think
It was a beige flag.
it's two things though. I think it's that you're talking about, but I also think it's probably a behavioral pattern where he was
He seemed
uncomfortable.
antsy.
And when you are anxious or nervous or you're
Anxious, yeah.
uncomfortable, you want to be able to control what you can control. And so you can tell he's trying to create order around him
fidgeting,
because he's
yeah.
feeling disorder in
Yeah.
the conversation. And so it's this, I don't want to say it's a tick because it's not a tick, but you can
I
think he's almost like
think it was.
subconsciously doing it
Yeah.
because he's having a tough conversation. And so he's like, how can I create some structure amongst this chaos of this feeling that I'm having? So I'm going to be doing this thing because I feel like I'm cleaning up a mess, but I'm also getting myself into a mess.
That was deep. But no, I agree. It was a subconscious thing where he's like, I mean, they're sitting on the water. There's a few moments of kind of silence where they're just relaxing and he's looking out to the sea. And you can tell he's not a guy who sits in silence well. He's anxious. He's fidgeting. Not a tick per se, like you said, but it's kind of just like he needs to be doing something to keep his mind busy. Apologies in advance for our dog literally barking up a storm. I think someone's robbing us downstairs, but we'll see what happens.
Could be DoorDash. I'll check.
God. But yeah, so fast forward, they're back home. We see AD checking out Clay's house for the first time. Good on Clay. He owns his own home. If those were his cars in the
house.
driveway, he had a Beamer and a nice looking black pickup truck. Good for him. His house was nice. It was, giving bachelor pad, like she said, really needed a woman's touch, but we see some jerseys and some sports accolades and things like that. And it just further proves that Clay is a very driven, determined dude. I mean, with his job, he seems like he's pretty successful.
Yeah.
He clearly achieved a lot in sports when he was younger. And it's just, those are good qualities,
Yeah.
We see he has like a vision inspiration board. I forget the name of it. And I didn't notice it when we watched it, but I've seen other people talking about it. Apparently there was like TikTok on that board. I don't think it was that big of a deal. I
No.
liked it. There was also a man and woman kissing on that board. That was sweet.
There's a
It
lot
was,
of
again,
green
endearing.
flags to
Yeah.
his spot.
It's giving beige flags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
as
could
the
tell
kids say.
AD was impressed.
She said she could see herself living there.
I mean,
Yeah.
she liked the house. She liked
Oh
the
my
setup.
God,
She
we're
liked his
missing a big
closet.
thing. To go back to their little restaurant date before they left the honeymoon, in that same scene, a little bit out of nowhere, they have a conversation and he says, I'm worried about disappointing you or letting you down. And you see her facial expression change really quick. And it was kind of the first like, oh, here we go. Here it comes. The other shoe's finally dropping. AD is a really mature, smart person, I think. She knows what it is. She knows that Clay is a little red flaggy. He's immature. He's got that fuckboy thing going on. And, he's mentioned his dad and how his dad cheated a lot, took him on these infidelity trips when he was a child and was cheating around on his mom.
Heck.
And he's brought up several times that he fears that, growing up with that as an example is going to affect him in his own adult life. And, I'm personally quick to be like, oh my God, but you're an adult and you have autonomy on your own decisions. Like you should know better and want to do better. But when that's all you've seen and know and instinctually grew up around, like it's easier said than done. So I think that she should definitely be worried and, rightfully so did not like him saying that. But
Yeah.
I don't think, again, he's like some evil bad person for saying that.
No.
He's just being vulnerable and honest.
And that's the one nice thing. He says it there, and then like you said, later on, I mean, he says when they're sitting on the couch in the new house at one point,
Yeah.
every role model he's looked up to, and granted,
Even he said celebrities.
he doesn't have a lot of great examples, to
Yeah.
be totally candid. Like, this was not a green flag, but his examples are pretty much like Will Smith and P. Diddy and
Yeah.
just kind of random famous dudes.
Yeah. That's okay.
But he's
Those are
like,
people he
say
looked
my
up to.
dad and all these people I looked up to, they all cheated. They all cheated. He's like, I don't
Yeah.
know anyone that I've looked up to that hasn't.
Any adult couple that didn't have infidelity. Yeah.
So I think that's the one thing is at least he's being honest about it, but he's pretty much saying, hey, everyone I know,
He's
everyone
kind of
I've
like,
ever
hey,
been
I'm
around
planting this
cheats.
seed so that
So
if and when it happens, like you can't be as mad because I warned you. It's giving that vibe a little bit, whether he's
Yeah.
intentionally doing that or not. And she again is a pretty woke, smart bitch. She's like, oh God, here we go.
I think he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he's protecting himself, or so he thinks he's protecting himself.
And you could tell AD's, she's riding this line where on
She wants
the
to
one
just like
side,
fall and
she
give
does.
it her all.
She
but
loves
she's scared.
him. She thinks he's great. She would build a life with
sees
him.
the potential for sure.
But she's
Yeah.
also a smart gal who's been with it, right? She was an NFL cheerleader,
Been
so she's
with
been
it.
around,
NFL cheerleader.
yeah.
I didn't know if it was like what.
Yeah, it
sport
was
or league.
Cowboys.
Oh wow, nice.
No, it was Patriots, and it was during their winning season.
He mentioned her living in that area. I
No,
don't
because
think
he mentioned he was like, "What? You were a cheerleader for the
I'll have to
Patriots
fact
when
check
when
that.
they were getting Super Bowls?"
he said she lived there at that time.
Bet you $1,000 on the spot right here,
Well,
right
I'm
now.
not gonna give
Patriots
you $1,000.
cheerleader while Tom Brady was
Literally
there.
married.
He was actually right this time. Give the man his money.
So,
I mean, great.
but the point is, she's been around this type of behavior where she wants to believe him, but she also isn't an idiot either. And so I think she's trying to figure out where this is going to go. And you see that even, towards the end of the episode, when they get dinner with his mom
His mom and his sister.
and his sister,
Jeez.
they're great.
It
His mom's
starts really
great.
positively. The women bring each other flowers. The mom is like reaching over the table to AD, like, I'm so excited to meet you. Quickly, we learn, I think it's the first time we heard this, that AD, besides pursuing being a realtor, it's an odd word for me to say, she is a VIP host or something at a nightclub. Unsure exactly what that is, if it's like a bottle servicey thing or she just like does something at a nightclub. Either way, who cares?
It's fine.
But you could tell the mom and sister were, without necessarily like intending to, were kind of throwing shade. They were asking about her work schedule, how she feels about his schedule, because he's super busy. He's possibly owns his own business or something, they were kind of alluding to. There was a mention of a couple nights he slept out of their house to be closer to work. I didn't like that. And the mom and sister, understandably, that's their dude. They're kind of having his back pretty noticeably. But at the same time, the mom was like, hey, because they were kind of arguing in front of the mom and sister at one point. And the mom pretty candidly was like, my marriage didn't last forever, but I was married 20-something years to the same person. And, when you love someone and want to be with them, you make time. Point blank, period. It was giving if he wanted to, he would. So I liked that because it was kind of calling her son out. Like, hey, listen, if you want to be with this woman, like, you're not going to let work and all these things be an excuse. You need to make the time. That was nice.
Yeah, the mom does a good job of kind of calling
She was a queen.
them
Yeah.
both out. And it's tough because I don't want to judge
She said
AD.
give each other grace.
I think it's tough. I imagine, right, because this isn't a world I could ever live in, but when you're successful as a woman based on how you look, and then you have to eventually transition out of that stage of your life into the next, I imagine it is a difficult transition. She went from being an NFL cheerleader to what do I do next? Because, I'm not going to do this when I'm 40. And so I think, being a VIP at a club was probably something, and I'm sure she wants to be in realty long term. I know she does because she mentions it.
Guilty.
And so I think on the one hand, like I get why
Also, you make good money at a
her
club.
mom is judging her to a degree for
His
that.
mom. Yep.
Or yeah, his mom. But I think also understanding, she probably still trying to make her way in the world, and she found
Pretty
success in a
young
lot of
still.
ways.
Yeah.
I think, yeah,
At least she's doing something.
she's 32, I want to say.
That's young.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not much there. Again, we're seeing Clay, possibly some foreshadowing going on with him being worried about letting her down. We'll see how that all goes. Let's move on. We've got two more couples. I think we'll go next, I should say, to Chelsea and Jimmy.
Ooh.
They are, the most dramatic couple so far. Don't really want to backtrack and go into all that too much, but these episodes were interesting. Part of me was like, oh, Jimmy actually kind of likes this bitch, but
Jimmy with the milk.
Jimmy with the milk, the rotten, spoiled milk, the 2%.
There ain't no juice. There ain't no juice.
Yeah, I mean, do I think Jimmy's like some evil, horrible dude? No, but is he gaslighting Chelsea and does not love her? Absolutely. But man, I mean, is Chelsea easy to deal with and live with?
Chelsea.
She's getting a lot of hate online. I'm not going to pile on that.
No.
She's human.
Just a little.
But, girl.
I mean, it starts in the DR,
so
right?
hard to
The morning
watch.
after the fight
I
when
don't even want to go that far.
things seem
but yeah.
fine. And we'll go through it quickly, right? But
Yeah,
she just,
please.
there's doubts always in her mind, and
Needs a
she
lot of
can't really ever
reassurance,
let
yeah.
anything totally be settled. So she brings it back up. They argue a little bit. He says he loves her 1,000 times. They finally move past it. Things seem good.
Sure.
So we get out of the DR, and things seem pretty good, for the most part, right? They're moved to the new house. They seem to be happy.
Saw each other's place, met the roommate. It all seemed to be pretty positive.
Yeah, Jimmy makes some funny
she was
comments.
obsessed with his tiny studio apartment.
Yeah, Jimmy was like, "I refuse to live with your crazy roommate."
That was mean, but she was a lot.
It was kind of rude of it. Well,
I mean,
you
they're
can tell
outgoing
based
girls.
on the pod, he's very much like he wants a very chill, simple life. It was like the one gal has a kid. I'm out. He's like, your roommate's a lot to
He
deal
doesn't
with.
like
I'm out.
complexity, yeah.
Yeah.
Being uncomfortable, yeah.
And so we think it's going really well, but clearly there's stuff going on that we don't necessarily see to a degree. We get the first hint, when her friends come to visit, and
Well, it goes pretty well.
well, it's going well, but before he meets them when they're sitting outside, they're like asking about it, and she's like, well, he doesn't do this, he doesn't kind of do that. I had this other guy.
Yeah, she talked a lot
He's all
about
me.
Trevor.
He's all about
and that
this,
other
whatever have
connection.
you. It was kind of a weird thing how she was talking about so much, but at the same
She was
point,
like, oh, yeah, I loved that other guy, but I'm happy and chose this other guy.
yeah, I get it.
And he hasn't
'cause
kissed me all day.
She wants to talk about that, but oh my God.
And then
Her-
let's not give it too much time because it's just
Yeah.
so frustrating. But essentially, the friends meet him. They seem pretty on board. It goes pretty well. The friends were sweet and nice, accepting, whatever. And they left. And you think that Chelsea and Jimmy themselves would be kind of on a high and in a good mood because it went so well.
yeah.
And of course, the second they leave, Chelsea has to bring up another problem and pick a fight. Unfortunately, I think we've probably mentioned this, she's a huge self-sabotager.
Chelsea.
She can't just sit and be comfortable and sit in silence. Man, God, I feel for her because it sucks. But, she brings up the you haven't kissed me all day thing. And he literally is like, first of all, I've been working all day. Also, I've kissed you this time, and we possibly had sex today. I forget if it was the same day. And he also reminds her that he hurt his lip eating the taquitos in the DR.
Those taquitos will get you.
And, she kind of pushes to the point where I don't even blame him for
Oh,
this.
man.
Was it a good
Oh,
moment?
man.
No. But, you're being pushed, poked. You're going to snap. He's human. He calls her, too clingy or something like that. And, of course,
She
she's like,
loses it.
she was kind of she was poking, and then he, out of desperation, throws some unsavory line out there, which he was not justified to do just because she's being annoying. But she ignores everything that the other conversation was about, latches on to the word clingy, and unleashes even more fury on him. Which, again,
Fury.
not his finest moment. You shouldn't be calling a girl clingy, let alone a girl like Chelsea, who is obviously insecure, needs a lot of verbal affirmations and stuff like that.
She's not self-aware at all, because rather than thinking, oh,
Well,
he's calling
not
me
enough.
clingy, am I being clingy? her immediate response is, "How dare you? That is so rude. That is so mean. That is
Like,
so
maybe see why
terrible to
he's
say."
saying that?
It's like,
Yeah.
he's not really being mean to you. He's saying things kind of harshly, but the reality is there's a reason for it, and you're not even trying to understand that. So,
and again,
she's,
it was not
she's the
right
queen
him.
of self-sabotage. I mean,
she can't let herself be happy.
there can't be a good moment without her thinking, this isn't good enough almost, and something's wrong, and I'm going to poke at it, I'm going to poke at it, I'm going to poke at it.
Well, it's hard. I completely agree. I think that's what everyone's kind of picking up from these episodes. But like, in the beginning episodes, I mentioned this. Like, it almost felt like he was gaslighting her, way overplaying about his feelings for her and being, I'm the happiest guy here. I love you so much. I want to be with you more than anything. She's not a fucking idiot. She's picking up on that. That isn't completely true. So she's getting self-conscious. She's asking questions, having these doubt because she knows like he's not fully feeling it.
I think you're right.
Like you're supposed to trust the person you're in love with's words. If he says, Chelsea, I love you, I'm happy, take what he's saying as Bible, trust this man because he loves you. But she knows that something's up. She has this doubt and it's making her spiral a little bit, which is understandable, but majority of it and their problems is her just being really in her head and self-conscious.
Well, I think you're right, and I think there's reality to both situations where I think she's needing too much, but she's also aware of what he's not giving, and he's lying about it to her and to others.
Yeah,
and I do think he loves her, but
has love for her. Is he in love
I think
with her?
they're both accurate, right? Like, I think she sees that and she wants to poke at it, and he wants to be like, no, I'm not, and she's like, yes, don't think you love me enough. And he's like, yes, I do. So I do think there's issues there.
Are you sure?
I think one thing is, I said this in the last episode that I deleted, but
good times.
You can't really be with someone truly until you can stand on your own 2 feet. And I do think she does lack a certain sense of self-love where she really seems to need that from him. And if she's not getting it from him consistently and almost constantly, then it's an issue for her, a major issue. And we all deserve to feel loved, but she should think, I'm a bad bee.
Yeah, for sure.
Regardless of if he exists or not, and I should have enough confidence in myself.
I know what I'm bringing to the table.
He thinks I'm a bad bee without him having to say it every 20 minutes. Like, I know he loves me because I'm the shit, rather than he hasn't said he loved me in the last hour. He hasn't kissed me. Does he still love me? Am I still lovable? And so I do think there's
off. What's wrong with me? Why does he love me?
There's an aspect of both. I think Jimmy's gaslighting, and I think she's also just not quite at a point yet where she can kind of stand on her own 2 feet.
100%. We kind of end their little moment. She meets two of his friends, two of his female friends that he's only known for a couple of years, which I thought was odd. But then I'm like, okay, maybe he's only lived in Charlotte, a few years, and these are like work people he met or something. Because like, if we were doing something like this, we would have like our best friends that we've known for a really long time. We'd want them to be the ones meeting.
I guess I never thought about this before.
Know
they also to agree to be on TV. He might have guy friends that are like, yeah, bro, I'm not going to that show.
I thought that's a crock of shit. Who doesn't want to be on Netflix? They're at like a brewery or a bar. Come on.
I can think of a few people.
I find one guy friend.
Would love to be on Netflix.
We know.
Netflix, your boy's here. Love is Blind season 7. Come find me.
They're like, yeah, bro, you couldn't even save audio. Anyways,
wow.
But yeah, that situation, meeting the friends, goes well. I want to say, at first I was like, sus. But then somebody I saw somewhere said that these are girlfriends of his friends. Which I don't remember hearing that ourselves.
I don't remember hearing that either.
I believe it because I've seen it online. Either way, Chelsea is super bubbly, super outgoing, pretty much telling them every nitty-gritty detail about their sex life and their arguments and things like that. But they were really sweet and they handled it well. And they even said in an interview off to the side that they could see themselves being friends with her, and it went well.
Yeah, it did. Generally speaking, it went well.
So I don't want to spend too much more time with them because
this last couple.
Yeah. So last couple.
Wow.
Couple I thought was pretty darn suited for each other and doing well.
The
That is Laura
drama.
and Jeremy. We
Jeremy, you
see
give people with the name Jeremy, aka my bro,
you
a bad
give
name.
Jeremy's a bad name.
Bad name.
You can never just let me have a solo.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog and a terrible friend to me. You can tell we're losing it a little bit over here.
We're losing it. Yeah. So we see this. I don't even want to spend that much time on this. The stupid bean dip gate is resolved.
Ugh.
We
bean
find
dip.
out that they went back to their hotel rooms. He, as a fucking child, gave her the silent treatment, chose to sleep on the couch. They're together the next day, and we do see him kind of own up to his actions, admit that that was wrong of him, and she didn't deserve that. And we're like, okay, cool.
Maybe
You
he's
know,
got a chance. Not a
that's
bad
his
guy.
finest moment, but he did recover decently, apologize seemingly sincerely, and we move back on to Charlotte. We see his place. We find out he's renting his place. He mentions that he sold his last house and didn't want to buy another place until he was with his wife, partner, and they could pick out one together. We find out after the episodes aired on Instagram that little old Jeremy was engaged months prior to going to film the show. And that house that he sold was a house that he lived in with his ex-fiancée. Now, I don't want to
Scandalous.
judge too crazy because technically he was single entering the show. And you don't know, this could have been a relationship that was like over for a long time coming kind of thing. And
Maybe.
it's
Maybe.
giving Tom and Ariana from Vanderpump where they like coexisted in the house together while they were trying to sell it. We don't know.
Maybe.
But it was Red Flag City. Don't really want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Shady. And the fact that he didn't tell Laura that he was engaged like that. If it was some harmless misunderstanding, like I said, one of those reasons where they broke up, but they were stuck living together, he would have said it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if you have nothing to hide, sir, why are you hiding it? So yeah, he was engaged, and it seems, if the timelines are correct, that he possibly even applied to be on the show while still being engaged and living with that girl. So that's where
It's shady.
That's where you got me fucked up, Jeremy. No.
His house.
But
the new
alas,
house.
his house, suspiciously clean. Didn't really think it was that crazy until I found out he was renting it. And I'm like, he doesn't want to get settled too much. But then, once we find out his fucking actions later on, it's almost as if he doesn't like to leave any trails or behind of
She
any
jokes
trouble.
the house is very serial killer
So,
vibes.
is
And let me tell you,
yeah,
it does. It gives off that
he
sort
was
of.
joking, but
He puts on a great
sometimes-
facade in public, but in private, is there problems?
So yeah, we see her family comes and they meet him, and she's kind of doing the outgoing. It kind of reminded me of me a little bit, unfortunately, which wasn't her most likable moment. But she's kind of shit talking him a lot in front of her family, giving him a lot of shit about his shirts and stuff. And her family is like coming to his defense a lot.
Oh yeah,
They get along really well. Her brother was kind of like a nerdier vibe, and you were like, oh, okay, you could see how this would actually work, and he'd mesh with her family. And I felt like it, overall went pretty good. And then let's just get to it.
I will say one thing I want to chime in on. I forget at least. Is it her sister or her brother's wife? Or
Yeah,
fiance,
we're arguing
girlfriend?
about this. It was
Doesn't
the
matter.
brother's wife.
Regardless,
Which is her
she
sister.
says something really cool where the what's her name is giving Jeremy shit about Laura's giving her Jimmy shit about the Hawaiian shirts to her,
Jamie.
and she goes, well, if it makes him happy, you should want to lean in there, right? Like, if I knew that my partner loved Hawaiian shirts, like, what do you think I'd be getting him for Christmas every year? And it just made me think about old K-Dog over here, who's gotten me Marvel clothes before, who randomly
Yeah.
gets me great gifts and things that maybe she doesn't enjoy, but she knows I will. So,
I mean, yeah, when you
Sounds like a
love someone,
partner.
you want to make them happy, even if it's like giving you the ick a little bit. Like, you love your quirks and things that make your partner who they are. But you can still like throw a Hawaiian shirt in the garbage every once in a while. It's giving we're not on vacation. We live in Charlotte. But yeah, overall, like, she wasn't being that serious about like the disdain for the shirts. Like, even on the vacation, she was like, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you to get rid of them." So it's a balance. But yeah,
Yeah.
overall, the family meeting went well, and thought everything was still pretty smooth sailing.
Pretty
Pretty smooth
smooth.
sailing with them.
Come sail away. Come sail away. Come sail away with me.
Okay, so now flash forward to a scene. He is sitting on a chair
My God.
in the daytime with sunglasses on, red flag, and she is confronting him, asking where he was and why he was out till 5 a.m.
Oh
We
my God.
thought Kenneth was a dog for being out till 1:30. Jeremy said, "Hold my beer." Like, he said,
Jeremy's
"Don't
really
worry,
out here for the Olympics.
I'll take it
of
from
looking
here."
Bad.
Yeah. So I've been seeing this conspiracy and theory online, and I fully
So-
believe it.
She. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, great. So she calls him out and is like, "Hey, where were you till 5 a.m.?" And clearly she knew he went out and was okay with it. And he was like, "Oh, I was out at a bar, and who did I run into? Sarah Ann. Would you look at that?" First of all, Jerami, no one's buying what you're putting down. No one's buying what you're selling.
Well, he said that his friends, he was going to the bar with other people from the show, and they told him that she was going to be there.
I don't
And he
know about
claimed he thought about going home. Then he's like, well, no, my relationship is strong enough that
Like, I'm not going to let someone like dictate
yeah.
what I do.
So he knew she was going to be there,
Yeah.
and he went.
But yeah,
Girls are
That was
getting
a
desperate
wild
down
day.
there.
Yeah, it's bedtime. But yeah, so he sees Sarah Ann and he proceeds to tell her that, they talked in the parking lot. And she's like, "Till 5 a.m.? The bar closed at 2. And he's like, yeah, we were just like talking in the car in that alley behind Lost and Found, which is the name of the bar, I assume." Jeremy. And she lets him spin this narrative, lets him have it for a minute. She's like, "Yo, tell me, go for it, whatever you say." And then she goes, "You got, motherfucker. I had your location, was tracking your ass the whole time," because obviously he willingly gave her the location, trying to look trustworthy. This man, eagle-eyed fans saw, was wearing an Apple Watch the whole fucking time. So what did this man most likely do? He put his car in the parking, he left his phone in his car in the parking lot of the bar and said, "Ha ha ha, she's gonna track me, she'll think I'm at the bar." And then he said, "Hey, Sarah Ann, let's go to your place." Little did this fucker not realize he's wearing an Apple Watch. And he literally tells her, "Oh no, I was at the bar or whatever in the parking lot." And she's like, "Well, the bar closed hours ago, and I saw that the bar's up north, and you were down south in the same area that Sarah Ann lives, motherfucker. You got. No." And I'm passionate because I want to kill this man.
God.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Hard.
I lost it for a minute there. I'm not going to apologize. But yeah, and he's like, "Oh no, I was in the parking lot, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "No, you're an idiot. Had your location. You were at Sarah Ann's house." And it kind of ends, and she says something like, "I'm done," and gets up and leaves. And he's sitting there hugging a pillow like a fucking pussy. And again, the theory I'm going to run with that others are agreeing with, he knew, obviously she can see the location. So he's like, "I'm going to leave my phone in the car in the parking lot at this bar. She's going to think I'm at the bar. And then I'm going to go with Sarah Ann in her car, go to her house." What he didn't plan was the fact that, hey, the bar closes hours ago. She also lives in Charlotte. She knows what time local bars close. And she can also track your Apple Watch, you fucking moron. And all I've got to say or ask, I guess is more appropriate, it's been like a week, maybe 2, and you couldn't keep it together that long. Come on. Even if he, tries to throw the, "Yes, okay, I went to Sarah Ann's house, we just talked till 5 a.m. Liar. That boy's a liar.
I was just going to start singing that.
boy's a
thing.
liar.
That boy's a liar.
They kissed, if not more. I'm going to say it. They fucked. He cheated. You cheated. You couldn't even be faithful for a fucking week. And after she put up with your Hawaiian shirts, unacceptable. You dead to me.
I mean, between
He's
the
fucked.
house, between the ex-fiance, between meeting up with Sarah Ann, staying until 5
Lies
in the
on
morning,
lies on lies.
This guy is just got a machine gun, and he's just firing off red flags left and right. And
What gives this man the right? He is a lahoozaha. Let's just be real. Laura's a boss ass bitch. She deserves better. No. And we see Sarah Ann in the preview say something to one of the other girls like, "Oh, he told me she was going to end or he was going to end it with her." So that tells me that the night they spent together till 5 a.m., he probably
Can't
told
trust
Sarah
a
Ann, "I want to
man.
be with you, and I'm
Can't
going to tell
trust a
Laura
man."
that I'm done."
Yeah.
And what I think is going to happen is obviously Laura in that scene was like, "I'm done," and left, and I'm assuming is dumping his ass. He's going to try to tell Sarah Ann, like, I dumped her. I told
Oh,
her what
100%.
happened, and I dumped her because I want to
100%.
be with you.
He's a shade monster. This next episode, these next few are gonna be interesting because we're gonna
It's
see
going to be
that.
good. One big thing we're seeing a lot, they keep teasing the same part where we see good old Chelsea yelling at someone saying, "I know you fucked her." If I'm remembering correctly, they don't show the person who she's yelling that at. And we're supposed to obviously assume it's Jimmy. And everyone's like, "Ooh, Jimmy is going to fuck Jessica or something." I'm going to guess that she's yelling at Jeremy because she's friends with Laura. And they're maybe at that barbecue or whoever's house they're at in that preview where they all meet
Yeah.
all the other people from the experiment. And Laura is obviously going to meet up with everyone and tell them what the fuck happened. And the girls are going to be fucking pissed, rightfully so, and want to kill Jeremy. And I think Chelsea's going to bring his ass in the house and scream at him.
I think so.
That's
I can't
my
wait.
guess. Because, man, if Jimmy fucks Jessica, woo, that's
We're
going
gonna
to be
find
explosive.
out real soon.
Cannot wait. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Like, subscribe, tell your motherfucking friends. And stay tuned for the recap coming up of the next round of episodes. We cannot wait. The tea is, it's so hot. It's burning.
So hot. So hot.
Yikes. Okay. Till next time.
See you, friends.
Love
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Take care.